Battlecry of Freedom by Ngakma Nor'dzin.
Part 2, the slogans. Slogan 32, do not wait in ambush.
Trang Ma Gug.
Do not look for an opportunity to vent subjective view or gain revenge. Ride the present moment. The jumps were not high or wide in Grade 3 lessons. They were well within the capabilities of all the horses. To ride over them was not much different to riding a canter. The distance between jumps and their placement were expertly paced out by the instructors. There was often a ground pole in front of the jump as an indication for the horse where to take off. The novice riders had responsibility for the pace at which they approached the jump and a correct position in the saddle. Everything else was down to the horse. Everything was set up so that the horses could clear the jump, and, riding D, I did not even have to push her on. She would just go for it. If I had insisted on trying to control D in some way, correct her pace, her stride length, or when she turned to face the jump, it would have gone horribly wrong. It was her skill and expertise that made jumping safe and enjoyable, not mine. To insist that I was the rider and should therefore take charge in some way would have been to ambush her, to hinder the flow of her capability.
Shema Rinpoche says, in Tibetan culture, children are encouraged from a young age to remember the wrong done to them as a form of self-protection. Tibetans who can remember every harm suffered are praised for being strong.
Holding on to past wrongs and looking for an opportunity to ensure that wrongdoers get their comeuppance is an attitude that fixes the mind in the past and distorts the present moment. Practitioners should avoid this mind state. The perception of a wrong having been committed is subjective, and it cannot be assumed that the motivation of the perpetrator is accurately understood. It is best to avoid taking anything that happens in life personally and to let go of the self-protective justification that might lead to waiting in ambush. There are other ways to pounce and fail to dwell in the present moment. Conversation is a good example. It flows and moves and changes. The listener is empty in relation to the talker. Then the roles change and turns are taken in being listener or talker. The listener is emptiness and the talker is form. This is the creativity and enjoyment of conversation. The flow is as important as the content. In a group setting, there may be a point to make, but the other talkers are so engaged that the moment passes. If a person insists on holding on to their point and forces it into the conversation, even when the topic has moved on, this is waiting in ambush. It is an inability to be empty in relationship to the flow. It is being attached to controlling the conversation and waiting in ambush to make a point. It is a need to dominate. It is aggressive, based in a fear of losing identity in the movement of the conversation. Another way of ambushing a conversation is to make it all about me. When several people are talking round a topic, one person continually dominates. This person has the most interesting and important anecdote to tell every time, or is in charge of all the facts, or happens to have the expert experience that is most relevant. Everyone else is forced into the role of listener. Being deliberately provocative and trying to start an argument is another form of waiting in ambush. In modern-day social media, this takes the form of trolling.
Wikipedia says, In internet slang, a troll is a person who starts quarrels or upsets people on the internet to distract and sow discord by posting inflammatory and digressive, extraneous or off-topic messages in an online community, such as a newsgroup, forum, chat room or blog, with the intent of provoking readers into displaying emotional responses and normalizing tangential discussion, whether for the troll's amusement or a specific gain.
Waiting in ambush in any context is unskillful. It moves in the direction of delusion rather than in the direction of awakening.